Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Transfer Thursday webinar. My name is Dave, and I'm an admissions officer here at UC San Diego. I shared this with those that joined earlier, but I do primarily work with students in the local San Diego community. We have a lot of great information for you today. So let's get started after a few housekeeping reminders about today's webinar. So, first, please note that today's webinar is being recorded. A copy of the recording will be available on our undergraduate admissions events recordings page, located under the resources section of our website. If you have any questions during the presentation, we really encourage you to use the Zoom Q&A feature. Our dedicated staff is standing by. So I have a couple of colleagues who will be responding to your questions in real time throughout the session. A quick note about timing. Because we have a limited amount of time today, we may not be able to answer every question live, but we will do our best to cover as many as possible. If your question isn't addressed during the webinar, please feel free to reach out to our undergraduate admissions team after the event using the Contact Us form on our website, also found under the resources section. Um, Please note that when you're submitting questions, try to keep them as general as possible. If you have questions that are really related to your own personal circumstances, which would necessitate you providing a lot of personal information, it might be best to just go ahead and use that contact us form under the resources section. So again, please, as I'm going through the presentation, hear what I and try to ask those more general questions if you just need clarification on something that I had discussed. We are happy to follow up with you directly or connect with you with the appropriate campus partner to get all your questions answered. But again, if you could keep those questions a little bit more general rather than very, very hyper specific. Please also note that in accordance to UC policy and guidelines, we are unable to share student-specific information with anyone other than the student. This is important because I know we have some counselors and parents in the audience, and we really appreciate your understanding and cooperation with this policy. And lastly, if you would like to enable closed captioning, simply click the live transcript icon in your Zoom toolbar, then select Show Captions to turn on the automated subtitles. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. So, UC San Diego, we love talking about our location. So the local student I saw can vouch for this. We really are America's finest city. That's the San Diego motto. And as somebody who has lived in several different places across the country, I can certainly attest to that fact. Um, on campus, we are minutes from one of Southern California's most spectacular beaches at La Jolla Shores. And if you go down to the beach there, you can also see part of our campus with the pier that's operated by the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, which is right along the coast there. We are very close to downtown San Diego, about a 20-minute drive, if that. We are very well connected with the rest of San Diego. We have bus transportation that comes right onto campus, and students have access to unlimited rides with the U-Pass. That's part of their student tuition and fees. The San Diego Trolley also has two stations that come right to campus. So it really makes it easy to access neighborhoods throughout the city, as well as the US-Mexico border. San Diego, the wider region, is a phenomenal place for outdoor recreation. It's part of what makes it so great living here. There's kayaking, skiing, hiking. The desert, you can visit the desert, and all like from the coast to the mountains to the desert, you can really visit all of these locations, these different types of environment within one day, and most are just a ride away. My favorite hiking spot is Mission Trails, which is out just east of UC San Diego, but also Torrey Pines State Natural Reserve is a really great hiking spot that has these really wonderful views of the Pacific Ocean. And it's easy to engage in outdoor recreation because our weather is just the best, in my opinion. The average temperature is around 71 degrees that you can see there on the slide, which is just the perfect temperature, in my opinion. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, right? It's right there in the middle for comfort, and we get so much sunshine every year. It's really easy to plan those outdoor activities. Our vast campus is spread across about 1,200 acres. And if you've ever been to Central Park in New York City, or even seen it in television or movies, it's about one and a half times the size of Central Park. And it's really great because we have a lot of students, so it helps make it feel a little bit more spread out. And you can see students walk, bike, skateboard all across campus, and we even have a shuttle that takes students around. So getting around on campus and getting around into San Diego proper is really easy, given our location. So speaking of our location, San Diego is known for a lot of different wonderful attractions. And we at UC San Diego, like I mentioned before, are very well connected to these activities in the surrounding area. So you can see some of the main attractions that we like to highlight. Students can take the trolley to most of the locations here, which is why we feature it on the slide, including Balboa Park, which is a personal favorite of mine. That includes the world famous San Diego Zoo. But I also like the Natural History Museum down there as well. And then you can go downtown as well via the trolley. And that's really great during the baseball season. I highly recommend students go down and experience a game at Petco Park. Really is a wonderful stadium, and a lot of students take advantage of that. So even if you're not a Padres fan, maybe you can go enjoy one of the best ballparks in the country. And so really, thanks to our location right here in La Jolla, you can even go seal watching, Torrey Pines State Park that I mentioned before, surfing, hiking, and all of that is just a walk away from campus. So San Diego, great location. Our campus is very well situated to take advantage of all that San Diego has to offer. All right, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about majors and academic courses of study. UC San Diego offers 160 plus majors across 10 academic schools. A list of majors can be found on the requirements of majors insert inside the Triton admissions guide, which we can drop a link in the chat so that you can peruse that and take a look at what our options are for students. We're strong in all areas. There is a little reputation that we have that we're a STEM school. Our STEM programs are phenomenal. We have a top 10 engineering program. We have wonderful opportunities in the STEM field. However, we're also strong in all areas that we offer, including the arts and humanities. And social sciences as well. We have a top 10 political science department, psychology. We have a top 10 college drama program, according to the Hollywood Reporter, and home to the La Jolla Playhouse, which is a Tony Award winning professional nonprofit theater. And so we really do offer great, wonderful opportunities for students in all areas of study that we offer. So regardless of what your career goals are, what your goals are for your education, you will be able to really dive deeply into those subjects because we're strong across the board. Now, there's an important box here in the right-hand corner. It says selective majors. So they're listed here: data science, engineering, except for bioengineering and structural engineering, and then anything in public health. Admissions to some of these more popular majors to UC San Diego can be limited. So uh, due to that limited capacity, to ensure that students are able to access the courses and the research space that they need to finish their degree on time, plus how popular they are, leads to that selective status. Um, in fact, we discuss a lot of this topic about selective major in more detail in some of our admissions insights webinars. So be sure to check those out if you get a chance, because we really dive deeply into this topic of selective majors. But what I want to cover today is to make sure that if you're interested in these selective majors, it is strongly recommended that you list it at your first choice major, right? And consider an alternate major as well that is not selective. If we're unable to admit a student to their first choice major, but they meet requirements and may be admitted to their alternate major, we may consider them for that alternative. UC San Diego, unfortunately, does not admit transfer applicants as undecided. So it is really important to select an alternate major if that first choice is selected. Now, you do, when your admissions is the best time to be able to get into one of these selected majors. So it is important that you list that as your first choice and then consider an alternate that you would be comfortable studying, because it would be very difficult to switch into, if not impossible, to one of those selective majors once you're a student on campus. Please ensure that when you are considering your major options, that you and we'll talk a little bit about this with major preparation, but you would also need to make sure that you fulfill those major preparation requirements for that alternate major. And I can talk a little bit more about that when we get to the requirements section. What I would like to switch gears is and talk about our unique college system. So it really is a unique feature at UC San Diego. And you can get more information and dive deeply into each of the individual colleges using our main webpage, which we can also link in the chat as well. Our campus is divided into 8 undergraduate colleges. And when a student is admitted to UC San Diego, they're then placed into one of these 8 colleges. What the colleges do is it really helps students thrive as they create an opportunity to make that large research university experience a little bit more personal and approachable. The analogy I like to use when I'm talking college system is that if UC San Diego is a city, each of the 8 colleges are like neighborhood. So just like with any neighborhood in a city, just like any city rather, each neighborhood has their own vibe, their characteristics, lifestyle almost. It's the same with our 8 colleges, right? And what this allows for students is they can experience the best of both worlds. There's a ton of advantages that come with being at a top-ranked research institution like UC San Diego, and that's your access to those state-of-the-art facilities, and your access to world-renowned faculty members. Also, it provides students the opportunity to engage in research at the undergraduate level that really helps prepare students and gives them the skills that they need to succeed in either graduate school or in their career path. It combines that with the best parts about going to a smaller college. So, you know, it allows you to have that more smaller community feel through your college affiliation. Academic advising, dean's office services are provided at the college level. So you get that more individualized support that comes with a smaller college, but you're engaging with that within the context of a large top-ranked research institution, the benefits I just talked about a little bit ago. So students can, and this is very important because we get a lot of questions about this. Students can study any UC San Diego major at any one of these colleges. I inevitably, at a college fair or at a talk that I give at a school, will have a student approach me and say, I'm interested in neurobiology. Which of these colleges is right for me? And my answer is any one of them. And it really depends on your individual preference, right? And what you align with. So each college has student government, organizations, they have their own campus events and traditions. They also have their own special events. These options are also available at the campus-wide level, but it's really great that students have not only the ability to say that they are a UC San Diego alum or a student, but they also have that college affiliation that comes with a lot of pride as well. Now, the difference, one of the main differences between each of the colleges is that they each have their own philosophy. And from that, they've developed their own set of general education requirements. So those courses you take outside of your major are going to be different depending on which of the colleges you're assigned to. While your major requirements, say you're majoring in political science, will be the same regardless of which college you're in, your general education requirements will be different depending on which college you're in. So for UC San Diego students, uh, it really makes a big difference in their educational journey because those courses that they're taking outside of their major are going to be different depending on the college that they are assigned to. Now, for prospective transfer students out there, you have the ability to have some say into which college you are assigned to. So when you fill out the UC application, you have the option to either rank your top four choices or opt out and just have it be randomly assigned. If I were to give my recommendation, I would say look at each college, and we have great resources that can kind of explain what the differences are between the different colleges. Research each college, pick your top four, rank them because while you might not get your top choice, you at least have some say into which college you're placed into. And again, for transfer students, uh, there are some additional general education requirements at the upper division that you will have to make sure you satisfy to be successful at UC San Diego. So it's important to access the resources that we have available so you can make an informed ranking. And then again, you at least have some say into which college that you will be assigned to. Whereas if you opt to just have it randomly assigned, you get zero say. So that's I'm going to jump off the soapbox a little bit. That's my recommendation to you. All right, switching gears a little bit, I just wanted to give you a snap shot of our undergraduate student profile. We have almost 35,000 students. As you can see, we are a very transfer friendly school. In fact, the entire UC system is very transfer friendly. About two-thirds of our new students come in right out of high school, but a third of our incoming students are coming from transfers, and they're primarily coming from California community colleges. So our students are, for the most part, about three-quarters of our students are from the state of California and all over the place in California. But a quarter of our students are also coming from up to 45 different states and over 100 countries or regions throughout the world. So a lot of geographic diversity on campus. Now, speaking of campus, I'm going to talk a little bit about what it's like to live on campus. So we offer housing to students with a 2-year housing guarantee, and that's also applicable to transfer students. So a transfer student who wishes to live on campus will also have that 2-year housing guaranteed. There's a lot of information that you can access about the housing and different availability. And you can even see pictures of some of our residential spaces. I believe we can link some of that information in the chat, or yes, in the chat. So our campus housing, dining, and hospitality offers dozens of restaurants, markets, and food trucks with vegan, kosher, and halal offerings. So if you like food and you like a wide variety of food, UC San Diego is a great place to call home. One of my personal favorites is Dirty Birds because I like their Old Bay chicken wings. So if you like either pizza or chicken wings, Dirty Birds is a good option. I also recently tried a ramen place that's in Six College that's really delicious. But we also have fantastic coffee options. So if you like coffee, I would suggest either checking out Mandeville or Bird Rock Coffee on campus. We also have a market that just opened up in Marshall that has that Amazon Prime technology where you scan your card, you load up your cart, and you just walk out and it charges you for whatever you grab. I personally tested it out and it works perfectly. And there's a lot of great options there. The campus features vibrant mixed-use communities, providing housing and dining options together, as well as those service and convenience retail spaces. You can check out one of the newest examples of this at our Torrey Pines Living and Learning Community, which is a home of Six College. So if you take a tour on campus, the tour route generally takes you through that area, so you can check that out. We also have housing that's transfer specific, which is where most of our transfer students will sort of gravitate to. There are living learning opportunities designed to foster that transfer experience across campus, including the Village at Torrey Pines and the Transfer Living Learning Community in Warren College. Really, nothing beats on-campus living. You're next door to everybody and everything that you want to engage with. So consider living on campus, even if you're a local transfer student. UC San Diego also offers these wonderful community centers that provide opportunities to really build relationships by increasing awareness of social issues and encouraging dialogues. These are physical spaces on campus that you can go to and visit. Most of these centers offer internships as well as places to study, take naps, print papers, eat, hang out with friends. You can notice here that we have the Triton Transfer Hub that's specifically geared towards transfer students and helping them acclimate to the UC San Diego environment on an academic and social level, really supporting our transfer students as they enter in their journey through their upper division coursework that they'll start in their junior standing. So these are great spaces. The admissions office got to tour the Raza Resource Centro recently. It was a great, vibrant space that had student-created art on the wall. It had a research library. These are just really wonderful places for our students that help support our student population. We also have a very vibrant student life on campus, and that's what I want to talk about next. We have a ton of ways to get involved. So we have over 650 plus student organizations on campus, and they really, they vary by interest, academics, extracurricular. We have sororities and fraternities. We have intramural sports. It's a lot of ways for students to get involved. And by range, there's, we have a ton of clubs that are geared towards even experiential learning. One example I like to share a lot is our Triton Racing, where it's students who design and build their own Formula One race cars and they compete in races regionally, which is a pretty cool club. But it also is practical in the fact that you are taking what you're learning in the classroom and applying it to this competitive sport, essentially. Speaking of sports, we do have a great sports culture on campus. We have 23 Division One teams that compete as part of the Big West Conference. In fact, last year was our first year of Division One playoff eligibility, and our men's and women's basketball teams went to the NCAA tournament, which is a tremendous accomplishment for a school that is so new to the Division One level of competition. We also have great signature events, as you can see outlined here. Perhaps Sun God Music Festival is probably one of the most popular on campus. It's during the spring and it features nationally recognized musical acts and groups. We have restaurant crawls, dinners and movies, laser tag, trivia, and more. Also, as I mentioned in the previous slide, every college have their own has their own student organizations as well. And just a lot of ways to really engage in the community, round out your education, have those meaningful experiences. Just like we have the Triton Transfer Hub, there's also specific organizations and resources related to transfer student experiences, such as the ACTA, which is the All Campus Transfer Association. And so we really do a lot to support our transfer students, even through our student life opportunities. And one thing is, and one helpful piece of advice is, fun is not or fun and involvement in student life is not going to come knock on your door. So we have the opportunities, and it's just up to students to go out, put themselves out there, and take advantage of all that we have to offer. So now that you are thoroughly excited at the prospect of being a UC San Diego student, I'm going to shift gears and talk about the ways in which you can become a UC San Diego student. So we're going to talk about requirements here. So you can see listed here the minimum admissions requirements for transfer students. These requirements are also listed in our Triton admissions guide, which is going to be linked here in the chat. We are a selective campus for admission. So it is very important that students aim to exceed those minimum requirements to become more competitive applicants. So the more you exceed them, the more competitive your application can be. So we only consider transfer students at junior level standing. And what that means is students with at least 60 UC transferable semester units completed by the end of the spring term before the fall term that they start. Now, I will reiterate that. I want to highlight, put that in bold. So say you are looking to enter campus as a transfer student next fall of 2026. These minimum requirements must be met by the end of spring semester 2026, not summer, the spring semester of 2026. That's really important and it's very vital for students to understand that you must meet these requirements by the end of your spring semester. So you also must have a competitive GPA in those UC transferable courses and be in good academic standing with your last term at your institution you're transferring from. We also require that students complete a 7-course pattern. And this consists of 2 English composition courses, 1 transferable skill in mathematical concepts and quantitative reasoning, and then 4 courses from at least 2 of the following 3 areas. That's arts and humanities, second one being physical and biological sciences, and then the last category is social and behavioral sciences. So the additional step, and a very, very important one, is it is important that all students planning to transfer work on completing the preparation courses for their major. And that's what I referenced this in an earlier slide, but that's what we mean by major preparation. So you can see here all the majors that require some sort of major preparation. It's those lower division requirements that they must take prior to transferring in order to be eligible for that particular major. It is very, very important that major preparation is completed with courses, and for community college courses, California community college courses that are articulated with UC San Diego. I'm going to share a little bit more about how you can figure that out later in the presentation, but it's important that these boxes are checked, right? You have to have this. Applicants to these majors will be screened for the number of prep courses they complete, the grades they earned in those courses, as well as that cumulative GPA within those major preparation courses. Applicants not meeting major prep screening may be considered for their alternate major if there's room in the alternate major. And generally speaking, you're going to have to make sure that you complete major preparation for that alternate as well. So going back to what I was saying earlier, when you're applying, you have to make sure that you have all your I's dotted, your T's crossed when it comes to major preparation. Remember, transfer applicants are not able to be admitted as undeclared or undecided. So it's important that you are thoughtfully planning your coursework and thoughtfully placing in those particular majors that you're applying to. And just like with the rest of the requirements, they must be done by the end of spring prior to your fall start. Okay? So now that we've kind of went over the transfer requirements, I did want to give you a snapshot of last year's admit data, for the students that were admitted, some of the data behind those. So for fall 2025, so students that just entered campus as transfer students, we received a little over 23,000 applications. You can see how many of those students we admitted, which is about 55% admit rate. So we are a selective school. You can see here the middle range, the middle 50% range of our GPA, which only reflects this most recent year's application data. Please note, this is the middle 50% GPA. So if you're sitting there saying, oh, I have a 3.4, does that mean I shouldn't apply? Well, a full 25%, remember, had a lower GPA than that. So as long as you have those minimum requirements, it's still worth applying. Remember, this only represents that middle 50% GPA. So if yours is not quite up there, no worries, you can still apply. So there are a number of really helpful tools for our transfer students that can sort of help them on their journey to making sure they have all those requirements and they are well prepared to succeed and have that competitive application. The first resource that I want to list, and this is specifically for students from California community colleges, where the bulk of our transfer students are from, useassist.org. This is a great resource, and I'm sure we'll go ahead and put that in the chat. This is a list, so you can get a list of every single course that is transferable to the UCs from the California community colleges. So you simply, if you want to find out if your course is transferable, on that right-hand column search, you just look up your institution and it'll give you a list of what is transferable. It also gives you information on our articulation agreements with our California community colleges, which is vital when you're considering how to complete major preparation. So it will basically, it's agreements that our departments and our California community colleges have about which courses at the community college will satisfy various course requirements at UC San Diego. I always have students use our transfer major preparation website and assist in conjunction to ensure that they are meeting all their transfer major preparation requirements. So if your major that you're applying to requires major preparation, you want to go to that website first to see what is required by UC San Diego to be eligible for that particular major, and then go to Assist and find out what courses at your community college are actually articulated for those particular requirements. And if unfortunately, if for whatever reason there is no articulation with that particular course, then you know that you might have to seek it at another community college or institution. A really great resource for students who are in that situation and might not be close enough to another California community college to be able to take an articulated course. Also have the opportunity to take an online version of that same course offered at California community colleges using our California Virtual Campus. Which is cvc.edu. I don't believe it's on the screen, but maybe we can put that in the chat as well. This is basically a catalog of all the virtual options for courses that the California community colleges will offer. So if you can find that online component with a course that's articulated, you can use that for major preparation as well. The next thing I want to talk about is our IGETC, which stands for the Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum, which is quite a mouthful, so that we just call it IGETC. So it is, if you've, it's not an admissions requirement, so it's not required for you to be a competitive applicant to have completed IGETC, but it is a benefit to our students because students can use it to complete lower division general education requirements for 7 of the 8 colleges, Revelle College being the exception. There is a new version of that called CalGETC that's effective beginning this school year if you're starting your community college journey this year. And so that will do the same thing. It will satisfy those lower division general education requirements for 7 of the 8 colleges. And then the final thing I would like to plug as an important resource for our transfer students is the UC TAP account. So that's the Transfer Admission Planner. You can plan and track your progress. You can receive campus updates. And the TAP account is so great for students. If you're keeping up with it and it comes time for that application, you can just import your coursework directly into the application, eliminating a lot of like an hour or two of your life because sometimes entering that coursework in your applications can be a little tedious. If you have the TAP account and it's up to date, all that work has already been taken care of for you, and you can just simply import that into your application. Now, speaking of applications, I wanted to then switch gears and talk a little bit about the UC application. You do use one UC application to apply to any or all of the 9 undergraduate campuses on the University of California system. It is very encouraged to apply broadly and explore your options in different campuses. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. All of the campuses in the UC system offer wonderful opportunities for our students. The application has been open since August 1st. You could have begun submitting your application as of October 1st. However, it's very strongly encouraged that you take your time with the application. So there's no bonus points for submitting it early. Just make sure you are as thorough and as accurate and as detailed as possible to ensure you're putting your best foot forward. At the same time, don't wait till that December 1st application date because I would hate for it to be like 11:50 and you're trying to get your applications submitted and your Wi-Fi goes out, right? We don't accept late applications. So while there's no benefit in completing it early, please don't wait till the last minute either. The application fee is about $80 per campus for domestic students, and for international students, it's $95 per campus. If you qualify for a fee waiver, it will waive the fee for up to 4 different campuses, so which is an important thing. And then you will be notified by the end of April as to what our decision is. And then if you're admitted, congratulations. You also have till June 1st to make that decision. Again, one UC application for all 9 undergraduate campuses. All right. The finances are an important part of the college search process. This slide shows the estimated budget for the current academic year, and it breaks down the cost or the estimated cost depending on your living situation. We have a tuition stability plan, which is helpful for students. It ensures that the system-wide UC tuition and fees will stay the same for up to 6 years of undergraduate study. Campus-based fees may change from year to year, but it does give you peace of mind to plan the financial aspect of it. And now I won't lie, these can be very scary numbers, right? But this is just the total estimated cost. Most students aren't actually paying this amount, right? Which is what I'm going to talk about next, which is applying for aid. Scholarships, grants, loans, and work study are all available. You apply using either the free application for federal student aid or the California Dream Act. It's the FAFSA is already open on October 1st, and you want to submit that by the 2nd. We have great scholarship opportunities like our Blue and Gold opportunity. And so that's for students whose families make up to $80,000 a year and meet some other requirements. UC tuition will be covered by grants and scholarships for students that qualify for that. We also have things like the Native American opportunity and much, much more. The UC application is really also a scholarship application. You can select to be considered to 16 specific scholarships on the UC application. There are also merit-based scholarships that you will automatically be considered for if admitted. And we also encourage you to look for other private scholarships outside that you can search for using various search engines like fastweb.com or through the College Board. And more information, because, financial aid scholarship is all a very personal thing, right? It's all about your individual circumstances. So more information can be found on the UC San Diego Financial Aid and Scholarships Office's website, which we can also link in the chat if we have not already done so. And they provide resources as well to more counseling on your individual specific circumstances. Next, I want to make a plug for some of our events that are coming up, and we appreciate. Chances are, if you're here for the webinar, you have already familiarized yourself with the events tab, but I encourage you to go and check out the other events that we're offering in the fall. And they dive into different topics. This upcoming month we have webinars that focus on some of our academic schools and departments. This is tomorrow, this Friday, we're having our first in-person enhanced tour. So if you're in the area, you can consider coming down for that. But we'll also offer that a few other times for students to sign up and get that on-campus experience. So be sure to bookmark our events page, register early. Remember, the spots do fill up quickly. And then if you wanted to revisit any of the information I covered or visit past webinars, including ones about our mastering the UC application, our housing and dining, we encourage you to visit the events recording page, which you can see how to access that on the slide here, which is on our main website under the resources tab. Many of the recordings are posted within 2 weeks, and be sure to check that page regularly to stay up to date with all that's going on. Another way to stay connected is through social media. We have a wonderful Instagram page. We're on X. We have a great YouTube channel that will also feature a lot of past webinars as well. So a ton of ways to get connected to us and get the information that you need. All right, so I know we covered a lot of information today. I'm going to answer a few of the questions that came up live. But if you have any other questions after today, please feel free to contact us at any time. This is not the last opportunity that you will have to get your questions answered. You can go to our contact form, you can give us a call, you can even walk in on site. And it's highly recommended. Again, as I said earlier, if you have those more very hyper specific questions that are unique to your own personal circumstances, use that contact form, you know, give us a call and we'll give you the answers that you're looking for, at least be able to connect you to the right resources. So, with that being said, um, I have a few questions that were sent in to me that I'd like to take some time answering. So the first question is, are transfer applicants looked at comprehensively or holistically? That's a very good question. So as many of you who may have gone through the admissions process in high school, we do holistic review for our first year applicants. So we spend a lot of time looking at those outside factors like extracurriculars and experiences and all that good stuff. For transfer admissions, are you're looked at more comprehensively. So ensuring that you have the units required, ensuring that you have that major preparation completed if it applies to your major, the 7 course pattern, having that competitive GPA, reviewing personal insight questions that give added context to your application. Those weigh more heavily in our transfer admissions process, which is a little bit different than how we approach our first year selection, which is a more holistic approach than how we approach the transfer applicants. So, second question is location taken into consideration for applicants? No, it is not. So location is not used as a factor. I know there's some college and universities that like preference locality, like the local zip code. We do not practice that at UC San Diego or in the UC system in general. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from. It's all weighted equally. A lot of times, California community colleges do have that advantage of having things like assist that can tell them what is transferable, and we have articulation agreements, so it's a little bit more straightforward to prepare. But we get plenty of students from all over the place, different institutions, other outside state community colleges, outside states four-year universities and colleges. So we get students from all over, and we don't preference one locality over the others. So
Hi, everyone. I apologize. It seems like our moderator or our presenter, Dave, is frozen. We have some technical difficulties. Um, Dave, Timothy or Mary Jane, if you want to hop on, thanks. We will have a couple more minutes, so we'll address a couple more questions. Um, Timothy, could you please address, is it accurate that most of the college's GE requirements are fulfilled by IGETC?
Well, first of all, Griselda, thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate that. And yes, we had a little technical issue, but that's a great question. So IGETC or CalGETC for students that are starting at community college this fall will satisfy lower division GE for all of the colleges at UC San Diego minus Revelle. And I know that was something Dave talked a little bit about earlier, but IGETC certification is not an admission requirement, but there are benefits to completing IGETC or CalGETC as we move forward. And one of those key benefits is satisfying lower division general education at all of the colleges minus Revelle College. So we definitely recommend if students can do the iGETSI or CalGETSI, there are some benefits for sure, but it's not an admission requirement. I mentioned that, Griselda, because if a student is on a tight time schedule and they're maybe looking at an engineering major, for instance, then maybe they won't have enough time to actually do all the major prep that's required for their engineering major and iGETSI. So sometimes students have to kind of consider what their priorities are and if they are on a time schedule. Some students are, but some students are not. So hopefully that answers the question a little bit.
Thank you, Timothy. And to all those that are still here with us, Timothy is our transfer assistant director. So he does work plenty with transfers. He's very well versed in the transfer world. So thank you, Timothy, for jumping on and taking over. I think we have maybe one or two more questions that we can address. Timothy, the next question is, if a student receives a grade in a class that is not the best, and it is not one of the courses in the 7 course pattern, will it still be considered?
That's a great question, Griselda. So every course that a student takes at a college level, every college level course must be reported on the application, regardless of grade, regardless of anything. So they need to report it. Now, if it's a UC transferable course, it will be factored in the GPA for admission. So for instance, let me give you an example. For a student that's applying for this coming fall 2026, they submit their application during the filing period, which Dave highlighted very clearly. The filing period is December 1st. UC San Diego will calculate the admission GPA through the end of the fall term. So for all students that are applying for this coming fall who are attending classes right now, your fall grades do matter for admission purposes. You'll submit a transfer academic update starting in mid-December to January 30th. So we will know what your fall grades are. So if you get, let's just say, a D, that will be calculated in the GPA. But if you repeat, students can actually repeat C minus, D, or F grades. Take the equivalent course. That equivalent course grade could be used just in the overall scheme of things. Now, the calculation for GPAs through the end of the fall, but let's say you do get a D this fall, you can still repeat that course in the spring, and it will have an effect, in more of an indirect effect on sort of where you land in terms of the admission process. But the bottom line is, if you do get a D or a C minus or an F, those courses can be repeated, but the GPA is going to be calculated through the end of the fall. I do also want to mention, Griselda, too, that for selective majors, I do want to point out that we have some excellent selective majors, as Dave mentioned. I do want to just mention that bioengineering is one of our selective majors, and that I'm going to put a link in the chat just because that's such an important question that comes up so often, and those selective majors that we have here at UC San Diego. So anyway, Griselda, were there any other questions that came up?
Yeah, Timothy, what about if a student has one class to do before the fall transfer and completes it during the summer? Can you talk a little bit about their situation? What would happen?
Yes. So if it's an admission requirement, all the admission requirements have to be completed by the end of the spring term prior to fall admission. So if a student has to take a course in the summer, if it's an admission requirement, that's too late. So they have to finish all the required major prep, the 7 course pattern, the 60 units, all of those factors have to be finished by the end of the spring. Now, if the student is offered admission, and UC San Diego will make the announcement, we will send out announcements by no later than April 30th. If the student does gain admission, they're welcome to continue taking classes in the summer. But that's not really the question you asked. Is if they are looking at a requirement for admission, it must be completed by the end of the spring.
Yes, so please note, students, it's very important that you read everything very thoroughly, that you report your grades accurately, that you do not opt out on reporting your grades. We do cross-reference your transcript. So if anything is missing and it does not match your transcript, that will cause some issues with your admissions to UC San Diego. So it is really important that you are honest and accurate, and that you right now you do take the time before the application deadline is December 1st. So before December 1st, read it and make sure you're matching everything that is there. We do recommend everyone to have a copy of their transcripts just to make sure that you are matching exactly what you're reporting and there's no discrepancies. Once you submit that application, we do not accept duplicates. We cannot cancel your application as well. It is the final submission, is the final submission that you can do with us as well. So I think that wraps it up. Timothy, thank you very much for hopping on and helping us out. Apologize for that little technicality, everybody that's still here with us. With that said, we are going to go ahead and sign off, and we want to thank everyone for joining us. And we encourage you all to please check our event website, register for upcoming events. And if you have any specific questions or even just follow-up questions that probably just popped in your head right throughout this webinar, we encourage you to just drop us a message, an email through the contact us form at undergraduate admissions. We would be more than happy to assist you through the process or answering you those questions that you have. And we wish you all the very best during your application. And we hope to hopefully see you this fall. Take care, guys. Thank you.